Pardon this review for being late. It was a busy holiday for me, so I just got around to seeing Eli Roth's new holiday slasher, Thanksgiving, on what most likely was the last weekend it'll be showing in theaters. So while it's here, let's dig into Thanksgiving. Welcome back to ML Miller Frights. I'm ML Miller. Before we begin, please do me a favor, punch that like button down below, share this video with all of your social media addicted pals, click subscribe to this channel, and ring that bell for notifications. Thanksgiving is directed by Eli Roth and written by Jeff Rendell and Eli Roth. 1 year after a Black Friday sale went very, very wrong, resulting in quite a few lives lost, a group of kids are tormented by a masked killer dressed like the founder of the town of Plymouth, Massachusetts, a pilgrim named John Carver. But as the bodies pile up, the killer just might be closer to the group than they believe. That's the bare-bones premise of Thanksgiving, a film teased to us in the middle section of Quentin Tarantino and Robert Rodriguez's Grindhouse double feature released 16 years ago. Whether filmmaker Eli Roth had difficulty convincing producers to back the full-length feature based on the mock trailer, or he just ran out of ideas and figured he might as well go back and elaborate on it is debatable. But none of that matters, as Thanksgiving proves to be a wonderful no-frills homage to old-school slashers. It's no frills, there's absolutely no politics or some kind of deep message the film is trying to convey. It's just a straight-up slasher story with a lot of deviously funny and gratuitously gory kills. And I'm pretty okay with that. Yes, Thanksgiving is basically Scream set during the holidays, with a masked killer communicating with a bunch of kids via their cell phones while offing them one at a time because of some kind of past sin remotely tied to them all. You could give John Carver a survival knife, a robe, and a Scream mask, and this would pretty much be Ghostface running around and doing all that carving. But Roth knows this, and while these elements are familiar, he manages to pepper in some nice homages to some more obscure slashers of the past, like Happy Birthday to Me, as the killer gathers the survivors and those he has killed around a dinner table for the climax, and another holiday horror, My Bloody Valentine, as our final girl Jessica, played quite well by Nell Verlaque, is being pursued by two men wanting to be her boyfriend, and either could just possibly be the killer. Pair that with basically a giallo format, which proved to be the format of so many 80s slasher films, and this one is derivative as all get out. Honestly though, I didn't mind it that Thanksgiving felt familiar. Roth takes advantage of many Thanksgiving Day traditions, using all kinds of cooking utensils as murder weapons, and staging the elaborate kills with Turkey Day themes. While I believe Krampus handled the themes of materialism during the holidays a lot better, the opening sequence where the Black Friday sale erupts in an all-out riot is pretty fun. It sets the stage for everything to unfold later with the killings capably, even though the opening sequence is by far the weakest part of the film. I much prefer the over-the-top carnage that Roth delivers later in the film during the Thanksgiving parade than the clunky and somewhat overly complicated way Roth had to leap through so many narrative hurdles and hoops to make the entire cast show up at the Black Friday event at the same time. The low-scoped opener just doesn't give off the intensity I feel Roth wanted, and therefore makes the rest of the film an uphill battle in terms of being the inciting moment of what steers the rest of the film. Luckily, Roth recovers from the tepid opening, keeping the mystery of who the killer is under wraps for most of the film and giving us plenty of fun kills to endure until that revelation arrives. Setting up these scenes of carnage and highlighting the gore of them all is definitely where Roth's heart lies. Each kill is unique and well-paced, specifically one scene in the middle of the movie where one victim awakens while she's being prepared to be cooked like a turkey and tries to escape from the killer's lair. There's a lot of good cat and mouse going on in this scene. The iconic trampoline scene from the original trailer is another highlight, and while it doesn't play out as deviously as the trailer does, it gives you something pretty gory And while it's different, maybe we'll get to see that scene in the sequel. While some of the scenes are quickly cut through, most are quite gruesome, offering up lots of blood and guts for the gorehounds in the crowd. And while it has become a Scream cliché for me to guess who the killer is in the opening moments, Roth manages to throw in quite a few red herrings, which kept me guessing. Is it the old boyfriend with the pretty hair who ghosted Jessica after last year's massacre? How about the bland new boyfriend? Or the owner of the retail store where the massacre occurred? Or maybe it's the biggest name star of the cast, Patrick Dempsey. Or how about the new weird deputy who no one likes, has a shady past, and stares at the camera a bit too long like Roy did in Friday the 13th Part 5, A New Beginning? Halfway through and I had some solid guesses, but I like it that more than one of these characters could have been the killer, while some others might be killers in future installments. What I'm saying is that Roth has set up a story and a cast of characters who all have dark motives and could be the killer, which means he's done his job at setting up a very strong mystery. I feel these cartoon masks that seem to be popping up in recent modern slashers, like the baby mask in Happy Death Day and the guy smiley mask in Totally Killer, really aren't scary at all. The blank stare of John Carver's mask worked for me, though. It has shades of Michael Myers' emotionless shape mask and exudes just enough creep factor as the killer stands and stares at its intended victims. Again, Roth borrows from Scream as the mask is worn by everyone in the crowd, making for some clever sleight of hand later on where there's too many people around to know who or where the killer is. But don't expect the slasher genre to be reimagined or expectations to be not so ironically flipped as a result of Thanksgiving. Roth is just telling a standard slasher, and I had a great time with it because it left the bells and whistles out. It's just gore and violence and a couple of shocks, a masked killer and victims and a final girl, and a cliched villain speech at the end explaining complex motivations for the rampage. Much is left unanswered, as Roth seemed to know he would be doing a sequel, which has already been confirmed, by the way. Roth is a horror fan true and true. Sometimes this has been a benefit to his films, other times it's been a curse. With Thanksgiving, it really seems like Roth was giving it his all, honoring the slashers of old without shitting on them as the Scream franchise sometimes has been known to do. For that, I'm definitely giving Thanksgiving a strong recommendation to slasher fans, especially the old school ones.
You're doomed to live the life you're meant to be, stuck inside your reality. You're doomed. Oh, you're doomed. You're doomed. You're doomed. Live the life that you are meant to be. To live inside